Hey everybody, Andrew here, and this is a video on our 8x8 IP phones. These things. So I think this is going to be split up into multiple videos, probably 3. In this first video, we're going to look at the configuration on the phone itself, and then we'll do the browser configuration of the phone. Each phone has an IP address and you can browse into it and configure things. And then we'll take a look at the hosted PBX configuration at 8x8.com itself. So first, just a quick history about these phones. We bought these phones because originally we're using what was called shared lines. So we had lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one here, 5. Now each phone has its own number. We don't do shared lines. So line 1 is your number, and then a new call, if a second call comes in on line 2. So we don't use any of these. Okay, so next, over here we have this options button. When you press that options button, you get these options. Whoops. There, you can see it now. It's hard to see this if I don't tilt it up because of the lights on the ceiling. And if I tilt it up, the handset will fall out. So anyway, if I press options, now you see this. Call forwarding, preferences, phone status, and then there's more. You can go down. There's an administrative menu, and you can restart the phone lock, which I've never used. So call forward, you can forward calls, and you can choose whether to forward all calls or just when you're on the phone, or anytime it hits the maximum number of rings. And let's see, goodbye will get me all the way out. Options again. Then there's preferences, which we'll go into in a bit. Phone status. We can do things like look up the IP address of this, which is very useful for the second video where we're going to use a browser. So let's remember that number, 10.1.10.169 is the IP address of this phone. So let's go back into options here. Phone status, the user password. Well, we just use the same password on all of these. The administrator password is 54321. That's actually a default for these phones. The voicemail passwords are 2468. This is very useful for restarting the phone. And you notice that there's numbers next to each of the options. You can actually use the dial pad to navigate. So let's say I go option 6. That's to restart the phone, and then say, yes, I want to restart it. Now it's restarting the phone. Okay, so it's back. And so now we're going to go here, hit options again, and let's take a look at the preferences. So you have things like tones that, that's different rings, the display, things like contrast. You can set up speed dial. Set some stuff with audio like the volume. You can set up the time and date. Anyway, these things are pretty self-explanatory, and they're not in the administrator menu, so they're intended to be done by anybody. So then we have this administrator menu. So I'm going to press the right-hand button here, or I could just press 5, and it wants a password. And again, that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then enter. Boom. Okay, so now I'm in the administrator menu. There's a configuration server, network settings, SIP settings, factory default. You don't want to do that. Erase local config. You don't want to do that. So all we really care about here is 1 and 2. So the configuration server, if I go in there, well, all we care about here is number 5, HTTPS settings. And it's the certification validation, number 5 here. We want that set to no. if it's set to yes, we get all sorts of weird problems. So if you have weird problems, that's one of the first things you check. Cancel, done, done, done. Network settings has more in it that we care about. So we'll go into there, hit 2 or just the right-hand button. DHCP settings. We do get our address via DHCP. We're not using static, so that should be set to yes. We don't really care about the rest of the DHCP stuff, so done. IP address. That is my IP address, but I'm getting it from DHCP, so I can't set it here. Subnet mask. I'm also getting from DHCP. So 255, or 254.0 means that we have 2 ranges of 256 addresses on our network. Gateway, again, I'm getting that from DHCP, so I don't need to set it. But if I did want to switch to static, I'd have to set all these things. DNS, those are the Google DNS servers. DNS stands for Domain Name Server. It's what translates something like wellspring.net to its actual IP address. Host name, again, oh no, actually this is this machine, so I wouldn't change that. Don't care about NAT settings or any of this other stuff. So that is pretty much it. So let's just do this one last thing. Look at the address again. 10.110.169. Now everything on our network is either 10.110 or 10.111. Remember, there's two ranges of 256 addresses. So this guy's on 10.110 and it's number 169. And we'll talk about that more in the next video.